Apple just killed the budget iPhone. The days of a truly low-cost iPhone are over, and the iPhone 16e is proof. This is now Apple's entry-level iPhone, but at a higher price than the outgoing iPhone SE, which is what used to be called the budget model. So the big question is the iPhone 16e worth it, or is there a better, more surprising option? Let's get into it. Starting with the unboxing because, well, you know what to expect. Apple keeps it minimal as always. In the box, you get the iPhone 16e phone itself, of course, a nice braided USB-C cable, which means goodbye lightning on the entire iPhone lineup, a SIM ejector tool. Oh, wait a minute, scratch that. Just eSIM setup instructions because like all other iPhone models here in the US, the iPhone 16e is eSIM only. And that's it. If you haven't bought an iPhone in a while, there's no charger and no wired headphones included anymore. Apple also sent over their silicone cases for the iPhone 16e, which come in 5 colors, and I'll show those to you now. We've got this lake green, fuchsia, which I think looks really good, winter blue, which I'd say is my second favorite, along with white and black. The cases have color matched buttons on them as well, and I should mention that they don't support MagSafe. The iPhone 16e doesn't have MagSafe capability either, which is a shame, but I had hoped that the cases might at least include it for use with accessories. Also, the iPhone 16e itself is available in black and white, so a case is gonna be the only way to add some color. Now, the most interesting thing about the iPhone 16e isn't something that you can see. It's the Apple C1 modem on the inside. For the first time ever, Apple has designed its own in-house cellular modem, cutting ties with Qualcomm for this model, at least for now. This is a huge shift for Apple's long-term strategy, and I'm gonna get to some speed tests in just a moment, and the results may shock you. But in case you missed it, I took an exclusive tour of Apple's C1 modem testing labs. I'll drop a link to that below if you want to check it out. Super eye-opening for me. Apple's approach to hardware has always been about control. They designed their own chips, their own software, and now with the C1 modem, they're starting to take over connectivity too. And the idea is simple. When Apple controls the entire stack, they can optimize power, efficiency, reliability, and future features better than if they were dependent on a third party. So, does it work well? In daily use, it performs about the same as other iPhones. It gets 5G speeds and solid connectivity. Apple has tested it with over 180 carriers in 55 countries to ensure network compatibility. However, there's one limitation. There's no millimeter wave 5G support. So if you're on Verizon's ultra wideband or another millimeter wave network, this phone won't connect to those super high speed bands. For most users, that won't matter, but it's worth noting. Another thing to consider is how this modem affects battery life. Apple says this modem is more efficient, which should mean better standby time and less power drain. When connected to 5G compared to past iPhones using Qualcomm modems, in real world use, I found those claims pretty much hold up with 25% more power efficiency, plus the fact that it's a smaller modem, which means Apple was able to put in a bigger battery. You're getting a major benefit right out of the gate. Now, a lot of people have been wondering about the speed of this modem. Basically, since this is Apple's first modem, there's an assumption that it must perform terribly. I'm not sure where that comes from, since we've seen what Apple has done with the A series chips, the M1, and the H1, but let's put it to the test. Now remember, this is pretty unscientific because I'm testing on one network in one location. I'm in the Seattle area, and I have both the iPhone 16e with Apple's C1 and the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which uses the Qualcomm Snapdragon X75 5G. I went outside to do these tests, and this is what I found. While the iPhone 16e, there's no world where I'd call these speeds slow. In fact, I'd say it's pretty fast and that you have nothing to worry about if you need an entry-level phone with a solid connection. For example, you can see here, I have the iPhone 16e getting 659 megabits download speeds and 15.6 megabits upload speed. Here at my house with AT&T, upload speeds are always a struggle. In another test, the iPhone 16e did 673 megabits download and 13.6 upload. Now here's the thing, I never got my iPhone 16 Pro Max to hit that high of a download number. The best I got was 667, which is 6 megabits per second slower, which to me is well within the margin of error. I did see faster upload speeds pretty consistently with the iPhone 16 Pro Max, but not by much. Again, this is just on one network, and I did try it both in the suburbs at my home as well as in the middle of New York City. But my point is this, seeing what the C1 can achieve here, especially when compared to Apple's top of the line iPhone 16 Pro Max, should put any concerns to bed about whether this is some bargain bin part that Apple is just beta testing on iPhone iPhone 16e users. Next, a screen can make or break a phone experience, and Apple generally does displays very well. But how does the 16e hold up? You're getting a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR LCD display with 800 nits max brightness and 1200 nits peak HDR brightness at 60 Hz. So how does that compare to the standard iPhone 16? Well, it's not as good, with the standard 16 getting 1000 nits max brightness and 1600 peak HDR. The standard 16 also gets 2000 peak in outdoor sunlight, while the 16e doesn't get an outdoor brightness boost at all. The takeaway, the iPhone 16's display is noticeably brighter, especially in outdoor conditions. Both screens look great indoors, but if you spend a lot of time outside, the extra brightness of the standard iPhone 16 could be worth considering. Then there's the cameras. Cameras are always a big talking point with iPhones or any smartphone really. And while the 16e doesn't bring anything groundbreaking, it does have some interesting tweaks. The iPhone 16e packs a custom 48 megapixel fusion camera. And this is important. It's not the same 48 megapixel sensor found in the standard iPhone 16. This sensor has been custom designed for the 16e, meaning it's tuned differently from Apple's flagship models. Like the fusion camera on the rest of the iPhone 16 lineup, you get a 2x telephoto option, which uses sensor cropping to give you an optical quality 2x zoom without losing any resolution. You do get photographic styles here, but it's the older version that we've had on the iPhone 13 through 15 series, as opposed to the newer version that's available across the rest of the iPhone 16 lineup. And the camera here also lacks the sensor shift autofocus that does a great job compensating for movement while taking photos. The front-facing 12 megapixel true depth camera also holds up well, offering autofocus, smart HDR, and 4K video recording at 60 frames per second. It performs great in well-lit environments and delivers reliable selfies, but low light shots can be a bit noisier compared to the Pro models due to the lack of advanced sensor shift stabilization. If you're someone who takes a lot of front camera videos or FaceTime calls, this camera will still provide a strong experience. For everyday use, the camera is absolutely solid and the images look good. Apple's image processing is doing a lot of heavy lifting here, and in good lighting, you get great detail. In low light, it's fine, not groundbreaking, but good enough for most users. If you want a better camera setup, you'll need to go with a better iPhone. But for those just looking for something functional, you've got that here in the iPhone 16e. Next, let's talk about performance, because raw speed is one thing, but how does the iPhone 16e actually feel in everyday use? Powering the iPhone 16e is Apple's A18 chip. It's fast, efficient, and handles pretty much everything you throw at it smoothly. Benchmarks aside, in real world use, it feels pretty much like any other modern iPhone. Apps open instantly, gaming is fluid, and iOS 18 runs great. And when it comes to battery life, this phone lasts. Apple claims for the 26 hours of video playback, making it the longest lasting 6.1-inch iPhone ever. I didn't run it through that same test, but I can tell you that the battery is definitely better than the standard iPhone 16 and is much closer to what you'd get from an iPhone 16 Pro. But keep in mind, charging speeds haven't improved. You still get 20-watt wired charging, and wireless Qi charging is available too, but in a major miss, in my opinion. To repeat what I said earlier, MagSafe isn't an option. The iPhone 16e supports Wi-Fi 6, similar to the iPhone 14. No Wi-Fi 6E and no Wi-Fi 7. I have a Wi-Fi 7 network here in my home and figured some might be interested in a speed comparison, and similar to the cellular tests, I found the iPhone 16e to be slower than my iPhone 16 Pro Max, but it isn't what I think anyone would consider to be a slow device when it comes to networking. It might take an extra 5 seconds to upload your latest Instagram reel, but for day-to-day browsing, I don't think most people are gonna feel it. As you can see, the iPhone 16 Pro Max with Wi-Fi 7 is hitting near gigabit speeds on my network, while the iPhone 16e with Wi-Fi 6 will do about 300 to 400 megabits per second or so, give or take. Again, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is definitely much faster, but the iPhone 16e is not slow by any means. All right, now let's put this phone into perspective. How does it compare to previous iPhones, and does it make sense as an upgrade? When comparing it to the iPhone SE3 from 2022, the 16e is a massive upgrade in design, display, performance, and battery life. The SE3 had a small 4.7-inch LCD, a single camera system, and an older design with the much larger bezels. The 16e modernizes all of that with a larger OLED display, a much better camera system despite still being a single lens, and improved battery life, making it a significant upgrade for anyone coming from an iPhone SE. When compared to the iPhone 11, the 16e is still much faster, has a significantly better display, and features an improved camera system with that 48 megapixel sensor. The 11 still had an LCD 16E and the older A13 Bionic chip, which is now gonna start feeling pretty slow. The 16E also brings improved battery life and a more compact, refined design. Now, compared to the iPhone 16, which I think is only fair because it is called iPhone 16E and Apple introduced it as a member of the iPhone 16 family, that's where things get a little more interesting. The 16 has a brighter display, an ultra-wide camera, ultra wideband support, millimeter wave support, and more. While day-to-day performance will feel pretty similar between the two, as both have the latest chip, although the 16E uses a binned 4 GPU chip instead of the iPhone 16's 5 GPU chip, and also both do have OLED displays, the iPhone 16 offers better outdoor visibility and a much more capable camera system, along with a ton of quality of life features like MagSafe. All right, so where does this leave us? The iPhone 16E is a solid phone, but does it justify its $599 price? In my opinion, the iPhone 16E is fine. It's not bad, but it's also not the best value for your dollar. It has a solid display, great battery life, a capable camera, and Apple's first in-house modem, which we've seen performs admirably. I just think that there are a few too many corners cut when it comes to value. In fact, for the same price of the iPhone 16E, you can pick up a refurbished iPhone 15 Pro on Amazon, link down in the description. And that's the problem. A refurbished iPhone 15 Pro gives you a 120 Hz ProMotion display, which is much smoother than the iPhone 16E's 60 Hz screen. You get a triple camera system with real telephoto and ultra wide lenses, a more modern design with the titanium frame, dynamic island, and a much faster USB-C port. And you get the A17 Pro chip, which is still powerful and ready for all the Apple Intelligence features that the iPhone 16E also supports. If you absolutely want a brand new, unused, entry-level iPhone, then the iPhone 16E makes sense. But if you're open to shopping for refurbished or used models, I recommend that everyone take a closer look at the iPhone 15 Pro instead, because you'll be getting a lot more iPhone for your money. Like, it's not even close. Again, if you want to dive deeper into Apple's biggest move with the iPhone 16E, the C1 modem, I got exclusive access to Apple's modem testing labs. I saw firsthand how Apple stress tests this chip for reliability, network performance, and power efficiency. Click here to watch my behind the scenes tour and see what makes the C1 modem such a big deal. Also, let me know in the comments, what do you think about the iPhone 16E at this price point? Does it make sense for you, or would you go for a refurbished 15 Pro instead? I look forward to hearing what you think. Thanks for watching as always, guys. I appreciate your support. I'm Andrew Edwards, and I will catch you in the next video.